Hey guys, it's Margaret Adele back with another video. I was going to do the Pop Sugar TBR today, or at least a part of it, but then I realized that I really don't do well with TBRs, so I'm actually probably going to upload videos as I complete X amount of books for the challenge. So when I complete 10 or 15 books from that challenge, I'll tell you what I read for it and work my way through that way instead. So it might be a couple more weeks before I actually upload my first challenge video. Instead, I wanted to do something a little different and talk about me at length, which is most of YouTube. I struggle with taking book recommendations. And this is weird to say, but if someone comes up and is like, oh, hey, you should totally read this book, I won't say in their face, oh no, I'm not going to. I'll probably be like, oh, cool, I'll check it out. But in the back of my head, I instinctively don't want to check it out, which is weird. And there's a little bit of a character flaw, and so we're going to look into this character flaw and why I struggle to take book recommendations from other people. So I've done a lot of thought, I've done a lot of self-reflection in trying to figure this out, and I think I've come up with a list of reasons why this might be. So I'm going to jump right into it. Number one, I still have some of that vestigial contrary nature that everyone has. Have you ever thought to yourself, I'm going to do the dishes, and then someone comes by and tells you, hey, you need to do the dishes, and you're like, well, screw you. Now I don't want to do the dishes, even though you'd already decided to do it yourself. So if I decide I want to read a book, or I find a book in the library, and I decide I want to read it, and then someone tells me, oh, hey, you should read that. Well, now I'm annoyed. Now I don't want to read that. Whoop. Sorry, back again. I just have struggled with this for a while, wanting to do things even after someone tells you to do them, and for the most part it has left. I'm not as bad as I was a teenager, or most people are when they're teenagers, but that's still a thing. So if I thought about reading this book and then you tell me I should, the wanting to read the book disappears a little bit. And yeah, that's working on it. Number two of my little list is the gatekeeper effect. Essentially, I came across a lot of gatekeeping when I was younger, specifically in that I never read Harry Potter. And I had a lot of people growing up tell me, how can you be a nerd if you've never read Harry Potter? How can you be a bookworm if you've never read Harry Potter? This one series was used as a gatekeeping gate for entire identities. And to a certain extent, it kind of still is. Everyone assumes that if you're a bookworm, you've read Harry Potter. If you call yourself a bookworm, you must have read Harry Potter. Which, no. And I can go into another video on why I haven't and why I probably never will. Probably. Most likely not. I mean, I'm not saying absolutely never, but probably. And so I actually had this idea where it's well, if this book series has fans that are all gatekeepers, I don't want to be part of it. And yes, I know that is, again, very juvenile in that gatekeepers are in every fandom or in every group that ever likes a thing. But as a result, after years of literally being on the outside or feeling like you were ostracized because you didn't read this one book series, I kind of don't want to read that one book series. So in general, that's one of the other reasons that I kind of shy away from people telling me I have to read the book, because it feels like this, oh, what are they going to say if I say no, or what are they going to do if I don't like it? Which brings me on to my next issue, fandoms. Well, it's not even fandoms, it's like standoms now, stands of things. Have you ever had someone walk up to you, or a friend, and they want to recommend a book or a TV show or a video game to you, but they don't say, oh, hey, I think you'd like this, or, oh, hey, this might be up your alley. They go, oh my God, you have to read, watch, play this. You know, that kind of over exuberance at the recommendation. I immediately don't want to read, play, watch that. Immediately. Because in that instant, they are not asking you if you might like this thing. They are telling you that you need to read, watch, play this thing and like it as much as they do. And oftentimes I have found that I don't always like that whatever they suggested as much. I finally watched some of the original Star Wars because it was so hyped to me, and I was like, I can see some issues with the way the characters deal with grief and how a lot of the characters don't seem to have emotions at certain points when they clearly should have emotions. And so this thing that was so overhyped to me that I should have loved, And so I get really nervous when people get like really hyped about books and tell me I have to read them, because I'm like, what happens if I read them and I don't like them as much as you did, or not even dislike them, just like not as diehard about it? Then that's a whole other issue, because now I'm not at that level. Now I must not be reading it right, or not be into it, or not have the right mindset, or whatever. This is also known in my head as the La La Land effect. But then again, that's also well known to be controversial in opinions anyway, so maybe not quite the La La Land effect. But in general, if you walk up to me and be like, you have to read whatever, I immediately don't want to, because I don't want to be confronted by that same person if I have read it and I wasn't as big of a fan. And I don't get that too crazy about most things. There are very few fandoms I would classify myself as being in. So, well, actually, I can't think of one, really. Maybe one. No, like, not the class, like, I like things, but, like, I don't think, I've never done, like, fan fiction or art or stan Twitter accounts. I can't think of anything I really say, like, I'm in this fandom, which also is a discussion for another day. But, the next one is also kind of stupid. The next reason is also kind of juvenile, is that I want to be the recommender, not the recommendee. It's so weird that my brain thinks like this, but like, that I want to be the person discovering the cool new thing, not the one that's being told about the cool new thing by another person. Which is weird, because I'm never on the pulse of anything. Like, I can count on one hand the number of times that I have read a book the year it came out. And the only reason I've read books coming out in 2019 is because I got ARCs. That's literally it. If I didn't get ARCs for free from various places, I probably would never read any books the year they came out, because I've got such a backlog. So I don't know why I got that in my head, that I need to be the recommendee, or the recommender rather, because I'm not on the pulse of anything. But it's just, in my head, it's like a power play thing. Do you want to be the person that's always taking the recommendations or always giving them? And most of the time I do neither. Neither? Neither. Anyway. And the last one is simply because I have a gigantic pile of books to sort through myself. I am very, very quick to turn books away from my TBR. I don't even like calling it a TBR, because that makes it sound like I have this like plan to get through all of them. When half the time I have given away books without ever reading them. But it's that basic idea of, there's so many books in the world that I want to read, and I just don't have time to add that many more to it unless I'm really into them myself. So as a result, unless I can really trust the recommendation, or know the person's taste is very similar to my own, I tend to shy away. And I haven't necessarily found another booktuber whose opinion I would trust to be so close to my own as to say that any book they like, I would like. And that's not to say that I can't find that person. I've subscribed to so many channels in such a short period of time that I haven't really gotten the chance to know any one booktuber with any real depth. So there's every chance that I'll go back and watch more videos of someone's and realize, oh, hey, we're reading all the same stuff. But right now, I don't know if I'm following that person. So as a result, I'm probably going to hold off on taking recommendations. Although I do still watch recommendation videos. I don't know why. I don't take recommendations, but I watch the videos. Especially a Snow White reader, because her last recommendation video was just so gosh darn cute. Well, she in general is just gosh darn cute. Okay. This video is rambly. I'm sorry if it feels like you didn't really learn anything in this entire video. But this was my thoughts. I know I should get better at taking recommendations. I know I should cultivate a group of bookish friends to take recommendations from. I've never really had that before. I didn't really have other people who were reading exactly the kind of stuff I was, mostly because my sisters were usually hardcore YA, and I'm not. So there's kind of a impasse that we're never going to connect on, but I'm working on it. I'm working on being the kind of person that can graciously take a recommendation and take it with a grain of salt and know that fandoms aren't entirely toxic, even if every fandom has a little bit of toxicity in them. So, rambly weird video that didn't say much, over. Sure. I'm so sorry if you sat through this. But regardless, I hope you have a wonderful day and a marvelous tomorrow.